Rolling. Guys, welcome back to another episode of UnMotivated. Now, Scott, make sure you stick it through the mic now. Okay. We're sitting down with our guy, Scott Hunt, and I've told Scott, I don't have any months to bring his ass over here so he can get on this podcast, man.
Facts, bro.
And I'm so glad that he got to make it. Man, what a pleasure it is to see my guy. Scott, we're going to jump into the business stuff, man. Now, we're going to go into the stuff that we're doing off camera, or it's technically on camera.
Yeah.
But it's on camera. But
it is on camera.
Scott, you know, you've lived a life of both being inventive, innovative, creative, determined, and where's that led you, man?
Down multiple rabbit holes. Well, one thing that it's done too is, I guess, because like a lot of times people they get pigeonholed. They get so comfortable doing one thing in life or one type of job that they're not able to diversify themselves. And because I've have so much knowledge and experience in Google Ads or SEO or analytics or even the tech or process
coding,
project,
data, everything,
data-driven project management, CEO, yada yada. I've run clinics and stuff like this, done consulting for clinics, and because I've done so many different, because I've been established in so many different areas, the possibilities that what I can do becomes almost endless. You start to realize that there's a lot more that you don't know. The more you do, right? The more you do, the more you realize that you don't know. But at the same token, you know what it takes to learn it.
Isn't it fun how every time you learn something new, even when you kind of get good at a skill, right? You go, oh, fuck, I ain't shit. And like you get good at what your lane is, but you go, like even me with the camera, I can do some damage with the camera, but there's some guys out there that do this for like life.
Yeah, well, you're pretty good, bro. I mean,
but
you're on another level.
They could outshoot me with a Polaroid because that's what they do for life. I know how to make it look good. Like, oh shit, that's life.
Well, look good, sound good.
And I love the basics, keeping it simple, stupid, as the famous saying goes. Yep. So what I do love is that very thing right there, which keeps me a curious person because you go, wow.
Yep.
I thought I knew how to do such and such, and somebody do like, oh, why don't you just take this down by one? You go, yeah, really? Like even you just try my buddy Jimmy G's food, right?
Yeah.
Who I've been cooking this whole time.
Woo! Another level, man. That was awesome, man.
And
that
you
was
go,
wicked, man.
Dude makes some food in 2 seconds. Did you go, when did you do this? I just did 20 minutes ago.
I thought he had to do that for a living.
Bruh, that's what
my
exactly.
head's fun. Like I said earlier, I was looking for a for sale sign by his house because I'm thinking about buying a house and we're knocking on his door. Hey, man.
Bro, that's how good the food is, man. Like he sent me a picture of it brining. He's like, I'm finna throw this on right now. He's like, just come on by. I was like, we got to go get this shrimp from Jimmy, man, because I know it's serious.
It was serious. And you wouldn't have to get me in the headlock to go over there.
That's my point, though, because you
already geolocated it on my phone, be like,
And he's a guy who takes food and elevates it in a way. It's like it's elevated and simple because you're in his kitchen.
He's a samurai in the kitchen.
Hey, you're in his kitchen and he's not at a restaurant. You go, why does this taste like this?
Oh,
I've eaten at some of the best restaurants and I don't remember ever tasting that flavor profile or that depth of flavor.
Correct.
In such little time.
And multiple flavor palettes.
Oh,
and
my
one
God,
thing.
dude.
Like you bite into it, you taste one flavor, and all of a sudden you taste something else. You're like, huh? It goes into something like, wow, that was good. Let me try this again. Let's see if I have the same. I was in shock, man. He is a samurai in the kitchen. And
that goes back to that curiosity we talked about and not being one note. What's one of the things you've learned about yourself on your journey in this thing called life where you've like, you got to keep pushing? Like what keeps you pushing in a sense, man?
My family.
Yeah.
And then growing up poor, not having a lot, I think I've always, no matter how much money I've ever made, I mean, there's been hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've made companies millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars. But but at the same token, I think that's managed. I've always managed to stay humble, despite because a lot of times people get big heads.
Well, define humble, because I don't know that being humble is a good thing. Yeah. I think it's important to know humility, which is the same thing to a degree.
Correct.
But for me because if you look at the definition of humble, it talks about basically accepting less than in a sense, and it's like
I didn't say accepting less, and I know exactly what you mean. Yes, correct.
Just by definition is
correct. But I think that a lot of times when people become very successful, they start to think that they're better than other people, and I never have. I've never thought that I'm better than
that part.
else,
I understand completely,
or that some role is beneath me, or that I have other people so they can do this role. I want to know what's going on. I want to be able to understand the ins and outs of everything. And sometimes that may not. You like, for example, Amari. Amari.
Oh yeah.
I'm also a dev, right? Developer. right? But I use like the second version of Python, the first and second version of Python ever created, like the Jupyter Notebook, like way back when. I'm not a better developer than Amari. So I know what I want, but if I want it, I'm going to go to Amari to have it built because and I might want to know every single aspect of it. But at some point in time, you say, okay, well, here's what I'm looking at. This is what I wanted to do. Here's the functions. This is what it needs to accomplish. Here's a wireframe.
But that goes back to also being a good business owner and operator as well.
Correct.
It would be ignorant, aka stupid of a person not to know the numbers or not to be able to read their checks and balances sheet, not to be able to understand if their business is struggling by way of numbers, etc. Because I got an accountant and a bookkeeper. Don't mean you know what the fuck's going on.
That's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, I have an accountant, for another company, and it doesn't mean that the partners put everything on the books.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
See what I'm saying, man?
Amen. 100%.
You keep
People
looking
don't know.
at it, man. What would you say then is your best advice to those people that are starting off or getting into the business world?
I would say, one, define what you want to do. Define how you're going to add value. If you're not adding value, you're not going to be in business. So what are you doing to add value?
Now walk them through what value looks like, because you and I have the same emotion about it. And, I'll tell you this, we won't go into detail in here, but put it like this. Two of me and Scott's associates called us on a business thing, and we both, without even talking to each other, go, what? I'm like, what do we need you for? You go, I was like, I don't understand what the value is. Like, if I could go do this by myself, why would I just get in business? Like, I'm not the guy. And my point in making the statement is, when I pitch Scott ideas, they're original ideas that require both software and some form of engineering, which requires ingenuity, so that we can own start to finish. If I went and wanted to go build a media company, I could fucking do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, you already have all the equipment.
That's my point. Like, I can.
You got all the equipment.
So you go, I know how to do that. I know how to do $3,000 in a day by myself.
Yeah.
If I had 10 more people, it'd be over. I mean, we could do 1.5, 1.2, $2.5 million a year just in media, but that ain't the goal.
No.
The goal is to be able to. I love the Oprah effect, because I want to control my message.
Correct.
So nobody's in control of what we're doing here outside of me and you. So when people present, Scott and I, I think, and definitely me, and it's funny because him and I both, I think he called me after. I said, well, hold on, this is Scott. I got to talk to the phone because I'd rather talk to Scott anyway. But you go, I'm like, what do I need y'all for? I'm like, we didn't see the value, right? So how do you define value when you're going into business and building amazing things?
What are you adding that is a product or service that somebody wants? What is your market? For example, your buddy with his shrimp and his food and all that other stuff. I thought he had to have a business doing that. I mean, like, literally, because if he did, that's value. I mean, I would be running down that food truck. You can see me down the street over here.
Hey.
I'm gonna chase him down. Wait, he could be like the ice cream man.
Hey, isn't that crazy?
I would chase him down.
But that's
value.
Now you see why we do booze and food every Sunday, because he said, "What do you want to cook this week?" Well, I cook an idea, he cook an idea. When both ideas come together, you see everybody licking their chops. They go, "Damn, them some good ideas, buddy."
Yeah,
y'all keep coming up with ideas, man. Because
you keep coming up with ideas, I'm there. Right?
And that's the beauty. But that goes back to value, right? I learned something from Jimmy because he has a butcher background.
Yeah.
I didn't even start cooking until I was 20 years old, and I couldn't make a hot dog before that. And to be in his company and him to understand depth of flavor, like that shrimp had a depth of flavor that
it had multiple flavors. I've never tried that.
I've never had shrimp with that depth of flavor.
No, me either.
Cold, like who eats cold shrimp? And like if it ain't shrimp
He's
cocktail,
like, I gotta heat it up. No, you don't. This is great, man. This is gourmet shrimp. Yeah.
And then we tried the turkey with the curry. You go,
that was insane.
And
I like curry anyway, but the way that he did it is.
This goes back to us. Like, value is something that you can't replicate, right?
Well, some people, like, you might be another restaurant that does what you do, right? And so they might be able to replicate essentially your value. But if somebody's coming to you, for example, you own a restaurant, you own a barbecue restaurant, you have brisket is your thing, and another restaurant 5 miles away sells brisket. why do customers come to you and not go to them? You're providing more value. So what does that value look like? Is it leaner brisket? Is it more brisket? What does that value look like?
Man, talk to him, Scott, because that's the part people fail to realize. Like, can we define value or community? Like, what is it that you're getting from everything that we do?
Well, so that's another thing too. Like, so a lot of times, if businesses need a podcast, they want to reach a bigger following. I don't know why they wouldn't reach out to you, because I have no idea why they wouldn't reach out to you to do it. And the reason why is because he's got millions of followers. Even my 9-year-old daughter figured that out in 10 minutes. You remember?
Yeah.
Esme figured that out right out of the bat.
Yeah.
She's like, Dad, Google. And he knows social media.
Yeah.
And if a company, I think, for example, this is an example, and I know you're not asking for promotions, but it's the truth. If you want to get a message out there, okay, then you're the guy to contact. If you want it out on social media.
And what's crazy is what they fail to realize, it's not always about the cameras being set up. It's about my ability to help the business communicate effectively about what the message is supposed to be.
That's a fact.
And asking the right questions.
Correct.
And driving that curiosity, because you go, oh, whoa. Yeah, and I've told businesses, I've recorded my interactions with companies. I'm like, that's too harsh.
Yeah.
They're not going to embrace that now. We got to get there.
Yeah, correct.
Because they don't know the value of you yet. So you come.
They also don't know how you slice things up
Oh,
and put
man.
them together. Right.
Man. But that goes back to that Opus clip.
Your friend
Yeah.
is and not to interrupt you, but your friend is the samurai in the kitchen. You are the samurai on social media.
That part. So that was the point. I said, dude, between him and I enjoy cooking because I got to take care of myself. But even more importantly, when you got a guy like Jimmy G giving you a goddamn whole bucket of shrimp that I dropped 2 bags. I said, Jimmy, I'm just dropping them off. He marinated them whole for 2 days. Come over there, they fully cooked. Nobody has a complaint.
Can't even imagine the flavor.
You literally can't imagine how good it is. And all he does is inspire me to be better. But I said my skill set lies in being the person who highlights people like him.
Agreed.
So I said, think about it like this. They said, well, Trev, you're going to go down a rabbit hole and be stuck on whiskey. I said, look, guys, I don't get stuck on anything. What I love about Scott is I do believe the world could be a better place because I was here. And I want to get stuck on bettering the world.
Agreed. Same thing, man.
I said, so my skill is not, I can cook my motherfucker. I can do this motherfucker. But the facts are, I'm better at acting like an Oprah Winfrey who highlights these gifted individuals. And then because I have some skill, I can participate in communicating or assisting in communicating effectively how it could better someone's life.
You got a lot more than some skill, my friend.
No, that part. But that's because that's the other gift. The gift and the curse is like, yo, you're going to be good at everything and get nothing done, or you're going to be good at a few things.
Jack of all trades and master of none.
But the full saying is, it's better to be.
Yeah.
I'd rather have these skills because I use them all.
You definitely use
them. So I'm cooking 7 days a week, damn near breakfast, lunch, or breakfast and dinners.
Well, your dogs eat better than most men.
That part too. So you've never seen the lack of effort in the things that we do.
Correct.
Because it has to get done, is how I look at it. And we're still just warming up. Now, will there be a day where I come out and the dogs' meals are laid out and people know what to do? Well, of course, we're going to get there. But for right now, what better way to teach than to utilize the stuff based on my understanding of it, and then teach people how to embrace the journey per se, man. Scott, so when did you realize that you were a gifted individual?
I'm not exactly sure. When I was younger, I was born deaf. And so,
shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I had all kinds of problems. I used to have seizures and stuff. And
dude,
my mom would always say, "You're stupid," blah 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 blah. And then they held me back like first grade and all this kind of stuff. But then something happened. And I tell people that I must have got hit in my head really hard because everything started working. And so I was in physics class. I remember I was in physics class. We had like over 100 people in our physics class at ASU. And I remember like it was yesterday at Angelo State University. And it was one of the first tests that went out. And everyone failed the test. I never showed up to one study group. But what I did is I remembered the book. And so I had this ability to be able to see the page. My daughter Esme has the same thing. I can see the page, make a quick note of what's on the page, take a picture of the page in my mind, and go to the next page. Yeah. And I can remember the entire book by that. I know it sounds really weird. So I remembered every formula.
No, I know some people like that, man.
I remembered every single formula. And once you remember the formulas, then it was pretty easy for me to do. And I remember what pages, and if I got a question, then I would go back to think about what page that was on. Then I would remember the page and remember what was on it. And so I know it sounds really weird, but that's what I did.
No, man.
And so we had over 100 people in our class. And out of everybody in our class, I was the only one with an A. And when they passed out this test, I remember I played intramural basketball, and I used to sit beside this guy we called Chicken. And people, and so when I played basketball, they said, "Hey, they called me the Wiz. Give it to the Wiz." Right? Like the wizard, right?
He's the Wiz and he lives in Oz.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, there you go. And so, but anyway, so essentially I made a 98 on the test, and everyone else, there's one B, and over 100 people failed the test.
Shit.
And I never showed up to one study group. And I was like, and when the teacher asked me to go to the front of the class and wanted me to, talk about how I did it, you get the idea, and wanted to introduce me in front of the entire class. I was like, well, hold on. There's something here.
Mm-hmm.
And then and I was like, well, maybe what I was told isn't true, right? Maybe there's something more there. And then I remember my real father, one time I got into a fight, like a real fight with a few guys in the garage. And I went through them all. They're much bigger than me, right? Because, I'm not a very big guy. And my real father was there. It was at a party. And my dad saw me just crush these guys. And my dad says, you know what? If you applied that same fire to anything you want to do in life, you will never lose.
Yep.
And I thought about that, and it took a while to click. And I thought, let's test it. And so I started, whenever I got into anything, I wanted to know it, I would just tackle it like I was in a fight. And if you're tired, then you're losing the fight, And so I would literally I literally considered it a fight. So I would literally fight my heart out to try to, to learn to be the best, to win at whatever I was doing.
You know what's crazy though? Is you learn to fight your heart out, but most people don't know how big their heart is until their heart gets crushed.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Which I got a story about too.
You go, yeah. I didn't know my heart was so big till I hit 30, but then I realized why I always fought so hard when I hit 30.
Yeah.
Like, I've been fighting this whole time because I got a big heart, not knowing that it was my heart that kept me fighting the whole time, right?
That's right.
Isn't that crazy how that works, man?
It is nuts, man. It's nuts. It's nuts, man.
So you come to this conclusion then that you're worth more than what someone considered the stupidity or ignorance or you being dumb. And then dad says, he's pitches you an idea.
Yep.
And you eventually it catches on like, and mind you, it's kind of what my dad did too in some very unique, like, yo, you don't belong with these people, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And the more he pitched that, he gave me the tools to embrace this almost solidarity.
Yep.
Because you, like, they're not like you. You want to fit into this pool, you'll drown.
Yeah.
With these people, man.
Yeah.
And the more the older I got to go, oh, he was right. He was right every time. And because, like you, I found peace at war.
Yeah.
Think about it. And the war within is the only war I have to win.
That's it. That's a fact.
And so once I won that war and I understood that you're not designed for mediocrity, you're not to do less than, whether you want it or not, people look up to you. Mm-hmm. So you have to be great.
That's it.
That's
you have
it.
No choice. The world. I'm sick of average, right? The world is full of average. So
but even that last Tom Brady speech that Tom hit people over there, he goes, "You just got to be a little bit better than average." And you think about the little things that Tom Brady did. When we look at the numbers, we're talking about a 5'6", 40, 145 pounds, drafted 199, and he's now one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever lived.
It's that heart, man. It's like what we talked about the other day. It's not the size of the dog in the fight; it's the size of the fight in the dog.
Man, and what people don't know, if you never watched the E60 or 30 for 30 with Tom Brady being 199, when they got to like that 5th or 6th round, he got up and took a walk around the block like, fuck this. I can't believe these motherfuckers ain't picking up on,
Yeah.
And then he's
a badass, though.
In 20 years to stay committed, be committed, and kill.
Yep.
Like, just like, yo, how do you beat Tom Brady? It's like, who you say you was playing? It's the same thing they said. Well, how do you stop Ray Lewis? Just like,
yeah, good luck.
you don't. You just pray to God he doesn't kill you.
Exactly. Try to get him to go that way.
Yeah, it's like, bro, we got to fake this motherfucker out because if he's on his way, brother, none of us can get in the way of Ray. And you don't see a lot of shots or scenes or clips where Ray's being stopped. He's just being managed.
Yeah.
You go,
it's about all you're going to do with Ray, man.
We gotta manage this guy because he's on a different.
It kind of reminds me of like Lawrence Taylor.
At war. War. And them some dogs, man.
That's it.
And them the kind of men you want to be around. How important is it for men to be around men that they inspire or aspire to be like or better than?
Well, I always say birds of a feather.
Flock to fucking together, don't they?
birds of a feather, man. If you're around a bunch of pansies, then 9 times out of 10 you're a pansy.
And, I don't even know if I'm asking the right question because I don't get along with people well, Scott.
And neither do I.
Yeah. We talked about that, right?
I don't either, man. That's a fact. There's a lot of people, man. I'm like, no, man. I'm nice to everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go hang out with you. I'm not going to come over here and go drink a beer with most 99% of people. I can't think of the last person I actually sat down and drank a beer with. But I'll drink a beer with you.
But that goes back to, I have the recording still of when we first met, and you go, but I like you.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the same thing.
Was that the vodka one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. When I floated that bottle of vodka.
Because it goes back to, I think your heart is so pure and so good that you don't know how good it is. And I feel the same way about me sometimes.
Yeah, I know you're the same way, dude.
And when I meet people like you, it is reminding of me to keep being better. Because had I chose the latter and chose less than, I would have never met people like you.
Yeah.
So when I'm like, I know for a fact I don't get along with motherfuckers because I'm too much pressure.
Yeah.
And it's not pressure on them. It's just like, I just don't fit well in this mediocrity.
A lot of times people are scared. Their ego does not like greatness.
It makes them sick, don't it?
It makes them sick. They hate it. I had the same thing with some previous partners. They can't stand it because I can generate millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars every year for us. Yeah. What are you doing? Right? And it's not even, and I'm not saying that to them, but it's just it's my work ethic. It's how I uphold myself that raises the bar on them. It's not because of what I'm saying or what I'm doing, but it's the fact that they don't like it because they can't raise that same bar.
Yeah, my brain was fried today, Scott. When you called and we spoke yesterday, and I was just like, I'm gonna rest today because it was gonna be a crazy weekend for me. Technically, my buddy flights got canceled; he didn't get to make it, so I was like, I'm gonna take the opportunity to relax a little bit because I know we need to do Monday. I know it needs to happen all the way till next week because he'll be here, and I know it needs to happen next Sunday.
Yep.
So I go, I'm not going to overdo it. I need to rest, relax. I know what I want to do at the gym, etc. But when you called, I got that boost of energy. I was like,
I appreciate it, dude, because
Scott's coming. You go, it's going to be a good day. So I'm like, let me warm up my mind. I just start triggering my thought patterns because I'm like, he comes in. I know he's got some stuff he wants to put on camera, and it's my job to bring it out of him. But it goes back. I
can't think of anybody better to bring it out. Woo! Fire.
Hey, and that part right there. But it goes back to, man, I literally don't get along with people. But it goes back to, if the next 5 people I met was like you, oh man,
I'm fine.
Life would be amazing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Literally amazing.
Because the thing is too is because the reason why you probably don't have it's difficult for you to get along with people. It's the same way as me. It's because I don't understand the value that people are adding. And it's not about what I can get or extract from you.
Oh, yeah.
It's about the value you have as a person, right? Are you adding value? Can we work together? Can we do something?
Yeah.
Can we grow together? What can we do? Because if we can't do anything together, we're not going anywhere, then what the fuck are we doing? Forgive my profanity. But anyway,
no, this is, you could say, this is unmotivated, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck, motherfucker, all that stuff this is warranted, my friend.
But it's true. If we can't do something together, we're not growing together, we're not striving to better each other, then what are we doing?
So what would you say is one of your, outside of your family, we'll give that a given because you love family, you love the stuff. What's
I love
one
my
of
little woman, man. She's epic.
What is one of the big things that keeps you so driven, man?
Yeah, I can't sit on my ass and do nothing. I love trying to figure out something. I like trying to go rank for something else. I need that fight.
Yeah.
I need it. Whether it's online, whether it's trying to figure out how to rank a product, or whether it's trying to make a process better, or like the new optic I designed.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, it's that fight that I can do more, I can do better, I can be greater. And I'm not saying that everybody else has to around me. I expect more.
Yeah.
But you ever heard of each one teaches one?
Oh man.
And if I raise my level and you're of the same mind state, then you raise your level. When you raise your level, we both feed off each other's energy. We both lift each other.
Yeah, yeah. And that's something else too. I hope doesn't go over you people's heads because it is hard. We'll put it like this. I think it's easier when nobody's applying pressure indirectly. So indirect pressure is when you come across a friend and every time you talk to them, there's something new going on, right?
Yep.
And you go, man, and it makes you go back and reassess, like, what the fuck am I doing in my life?
Exactly.
Scott's a guy who's, again, driven in that way. And there's no day you go come around me where I'm like, oh, well, what are you doing now? I'm like, oh, we got a couple things in in play per se.
Oh yeah, definitely.
While we try to solve this.
And here's the thing too. There's nothing that you and I can't accomplish
At all.
You know, there's nothing you and I can't accomplish. I can't think of anything that you and I can't do together.
Facts.
I mean,
and that's what makes it so fun too, because we're literally limited. We're unlimited in our ability to
click on those pictures and keep scrolling.
In our ability, rank checker, plan improve. Look, dude, Jane, man, keywords, yeah.
That's where I ranked for. I ranked on for the word deals across the United States for a company.
So if you guys have ever, I'm gonna help Scott put together a Kajabi or Skillshare course on SEO stuff, which I think would probably make him $1 million. Because if it makes him $1 million, it'll make you guys $10 million because of how much education and information he has. This is a guy who's essential. Think about that. You need food, water, sleep, and every now and then you need Scott Hunt.
Well, you got. If you need social media, then Trevor's your man.
Well, you can't call me though.
Yeah.
Unless you Scott and a few other people. like Richard DeBerry was here.
Yeah.
And the kids, the young men that he brought with him, were like, man, his phone's always ringing. I'm like, you can't call me. It don't work that way, buddy.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather build things with guys like Scott who really shape the future, right? And unfortunately, talk to a bunch of people who don't think the way that we think is not going to get us there.
And a bunch of guys that talk a lot that don't know shit, right? They all act like they're some kind of SEO guru, some kind of Amazon guru, and they don't know shit, right? And it's ridiculous, but it's true. It's fact.
Yeah, and that's the part too, because you go, how do we help these people? Well, part of us helping these people is by making sure they know what person to go to. And Scott, you're one of those guys where, again, I'm working on mapping. Now that I know he's freeing himself from some of that nagging, persisting stress of this other business that didn't work, you go, now we can get into building you out.
Now we can have fun.
Hey, and it's already been fun, man. Yeah. Look, I can't think, thanks so much, man. I can't think of a day where I've spoken to you and I felt less than.
Yeah, facts.
If anything, you go, fuck,
100%.
Dude, Scott's killing it right now. I can't wait to build. So, like, you're one of those guys where I don't think any one of us, like, we don't need the money because we understand work ethic and how to work. But you go, I'd love to be worth $100 million with this dude.
But at the same token, we can.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've worked for publicly traded companies, and I've seen what I've done with them, and their stocks went, and then you're a guy that has endless ideas. And I'm the same way. So when do you get two big thinkers together, right, that don't clash
we're big executors,
egos?
Man.
Yeah, executors, but big thinkers too.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can execute but not have the idea. If you got the idea and you can execute on the idea, right? And nothing is about ego. Nothing's about ego. It's about how do we get here? How do we do this?
That bruh, you've not met Stan the Dog Man, but one of my buddies, Rich, who I really Richard Dask, he said, Trev, I like that dude because neither one of y'all got egos. You know what y'all be able to do together, man? And when men can put aside their egos, learn from each other, have tough conversations with each other, and there's got to be those. Believe it or not, people, whatever you hear in excitement, that excitement does not come without reverence, and reverence just means respect, and respect does not come from things working. It comes from all the challenges you're going to go through. Yep. Where we have to have difficult conversations. Hey, Trev, you fucking up, or Scott, hey, you got to consider this.
That's exactly right.
And the bigger the bridge gets, in terms, we're building a bridge right now so we can get to land, is how I look at me and Scott. Someplace we land, but every nick in that road on that bridge is a place where we had to learn a little bit more about ourselves to be better men.
Right. Amen. I agree completely.
And I'm excited. Guys like Scott get me excited because I know, like me, he's never going to give up.
I don't know how to give up.
And quit. So I'm like, somebody said, hey, well, I remember a guy years ago, like maybe 15, he says, what do you do if this don't work? So I said, I don't understand the question. He was like, well, if this doesn't work out, I said, I don't understand the question. Mm-hmm. What do you mean?
Adapt, overcome.
I love that phrase that
Take the hill.
You go, my man.
That's it.
Well, I said, and then my pitch back to him was, I said, why do you think things don't work? And he didn't have an answer to that. I said, well, here's why things don't work. Just something simple. It doesn't work when you don't do the work.
Yep.
I said, in your mind, you want it to work tomorrow. That ain't how it works.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. When you look at the content you create, that takes time.
Oh,
it takes effort.
Brad, Marcus, I be reading for 2 or 3 hours a day sometimes, man. And to get on camera for 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Yeah, but
90
all
seconds.
looks stunning. Every time I see it, I'm like, I have to watch it. Liking that again. Let me watch that again.
And
Hold
you
on.
know how many people are like, yo, dude, that was so informative. I go find me. And then I'm reading out the book.
Yeah. Well, and then just like the other day, I was watching the ones where y'all had a bunch of guys there with the dogs biting the uniforms and all that. And I kept thinking, I got to get Odin out there. Odin's my Malinois.
Yeah, yeah. And again, even that, like the guy, shout out to our guy, Isaiah Gator, aka, he said, dude, this dude had this day so planned. He knew what time to cook the food.
Yeah.
Everything was done. And it's because I love execution. So people think it's about the plan. It's like, no, I'd be mad at myself if the time frames didn't work the way they were supposed to.
Yeah.
So I go, ooh, this is gonna take a little bit longer. I check my temperature on my pork, right? And I'm like, I can make these wings in 25 minutes. and I know how to fuck some wings up. So they're like, yo, nigga, these wings are nuts. Like, when you did these? And normally I let them sit in a marinade for 2 days.
Yeah.
But I know how to like fuck them up in like 25 if needed.
Yeah.
Gonna take 10 for the oven to heat up, and then it's like,
I saw the guys' pictures. They were like, in the videos, they're like, oh, man.
Man, say.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Scott, what's your best advice as we could closing this one out to those people who are trying to figure out their lives, man?
Prayer. Be honest with yourself. What do you want to accomplish? I'm gonna pull an Eric Thomas on you. How bad do you want it? Right? So if you want to change your life, how bad do you want it?
Hey,
what do you really want to do? Define it. Think about it. How are you gonna measure it? How bad do you want it? Why do you want it? What is it about it that inspires you? Is it for your family? Is it for you? Right? Is it for God? Is there a higher purpose in what you're trying to do? Think about that. And then ask yourself, how bad do you want it?
Hey.
All things are possible to him that believeth.
I heard that, man. Well, again, guys, every now and then you get to see Scott sit down. I hope to see and get more content with him. He's on a mission, and he always has been. And I can't thank him enough for showing up, man. I love the peace and quiet my house provides, but I love when people like him come in because he raises the energy. So, like, you don't know how, even for me, seeing you today is going to get me through this week.
Yeah.
Like that's
likewise,
gonna,
man. Likewise.
It's going to be like, oh, boy.
Well, likewise, because it helped me a lot, too, because I'm like, oh, yeah, here we go, man.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, so you kind of know what to expect. You go, man, that was a good way to start it, like, into Sunday.
Yeah, that's right.
So when I go to Monday, I'm going to pace myself tomorrow. There's no rush. Tell people we ain't got to rush nowhere, but we're going to get to it because
I know I can tell you what foot's hitting the ground tomorrow. I'm starting right out of the block.
Hey, man, say, bro.
Part one.
and I'm so glad to be a part of his now journey he's been on. But, man, when you see some things that we build in the future, I'm going to be grateful because Scott was there. And he's a catalyst, if not a culprit in the things that I believe we can change. And I'm going to need his perspective, his vision, his input, his determination.
And that goes both ways, by the way.
Hey, bro, I'm already knowing.
It's like spark plugs, man. You can have a spark plug, but no gas. I need gas and I got the air. You know what I mean? So,
hey, and it's all going to work itself out. Why? Because, like he said, my buddy Rich said it best. He says, Trevin, I only got one mode. Let's go.
That's it. I have gas. So, yeah.
I got a car. Like, I got the gas. Where we going?
That's it.
Let's get to it, man. Guys,
exactly.
Stay motivated, man.
That was good, I think.